Welcome to Group Dates and Hot Takes, a Bachelor Nation podcast. I'm Sampy.
And I'm Christy, and we're back to recap Katie's season of The Bachelorette.
We're back for episode 7. Are you ready to go, Christy?
Yes, we have an exciting episode to discuss.
What an emotional roller coaster. Where would you like to begin?
Well, we begin with Mike and Brendan worried that they haven't had one-on-ones. And they should be worried.
Oh boy. Even I know that. And I don't know anything.
Yeah. If you've made it to the week before hometowns and you haven't had a one-on-one, you should know you have reached the end.
Why do the leads or why do the producers do that though?
I think it's just that you need a certain number of episodes, so you can't just ditch everyone. So you're kind of like dragging people along who you know you're not going to pick just to fill out the episode count.
But why would you do that sort of thing? I'm going to use Brendan as an example. Like, and I'm sure he's a wonderful person, but literally, who cares about Brendan?
Nobody.
Like, she's not spent any time with him. I want to say she's talked with him like once.
I think
in a group date setting, maybe twice.
Yeah, if they have
because of all the disruption.
Yeah,
right?
It gets edited out. Is what's happening. So it looks like she's not talking to him because they kind of just cut it out, and so we're left wondering, well, who is this guy we haven't seen for more than like 2 minutes on screen?
Well, but I don't think that he, compared to everybody else, I don't think he really has talked to her though, because and yes, obviously the editors manipulate stuff, but you did have quite a few dates, specifically group dates this season, where Katie was just like, no, I'm not going to, like, it's over. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, that's
true. So I want to
true.
say he even had less time than that. It just, I guess what I was wondering is why would you bring somebody along like him versus someone, say, like Aaron, who, yeah, okay, you're not going to bring him along to the end, but he at least has some sort of presence on the show.
Well, my guess is that Brendan was too normal and not involved in the drama, and so that's probably why we didn't see.
I just feel like there were a couple additional people who got let go earlier that would have been sort of separate from the drama, but still at least more of a connection to Katie.
Like Connor?
To kind of keep along to this point. I don't know. It just seemed kind of strange to me because you just look at him and like, he's just some sort of, I guess he is from Canada, right?
Yes, he and Blake know each other, actually.
He's just like sort of generic Canadian bro with the hairdo and the speech patterns, all of that different stuff. I just thought it was weird.
Yeah, there's usually somebody like him every season who gets dragged to the end.
Like, oh man, I need a one-on-one. I need a one-on-one.
Nope, he did not get it. Greg did, and looked so miserable for some reason. I don't know why, but
he is like the saddest person in the history of the world.
Yeah, he always looks dejected.
I don't know why.
And Blake is jealous.
Yep. Brendan was very sad.
Yes, that was the final nail in the coffin when somebody gets their second and you haven't had one.
Oh, dear. It's all over for you at that point. Yeah. I don't know. Blake just kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit.
Explain that.
I just get the impression that he just tries too hard. I don't know really what else to say about it besides that. Just like his whole deal just seems to be like, oh, I'm just gonna go so hard. I'm just gonna like go forth and be, and sort of in a somewhat juvenile way as well too. And maybe that's part of it.
He's very energetic and earnest and maybe overly confident. Because he even said, like, no, he doesn't think anyone else has the connection they have. Like, you can't really know that.
No other Bachelor or Bachelorette contestant has ever said that in the history of the world. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the last one standing, even if it... Because he just... And I didn't actually see this at the time. I just found out about it after the fact. But, for example, and this will come into play later this episode, but he was involved in crafting an inappropriate art exhibition during Tayshia's season.
Yes, he was.
And he did the same thing here. And just some of the comments that were made during Katie's challenge to the guys. Like, it just seems like he's kind of in a position where he's just sort of super energetic and kind of immature at the same time. And I know energetic doesn't have to equate to or equal immature, but it just kind of witnessing him does seem like that a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of his brand. Like, I didn't like him very much on Tayshia's season because he just kind of, like you said, just says whatever, does stuff just to be inappropriate or whatever. But I like him better on Katie's season, probably because Katie likes him so much. That's probably why I can tolerate him. But
well, you know, she's sex positive and here to find a husband. And he is very sex positive.
Yes, he is matching her in that regard, so.
Which, as we all know, is the most important thing for a relationship.
Yes.
Well, what did you think about this one-on-one with Greg?
It was, I don't know, just another dud quarantine date. There's not a whole lot going on. They have this thing set up to mimic Pike Place Market in Seattle, which
What is that? Is that just like a tourist destination?
Yeah, they like throw fish like they were doing in this episode. The Bachelor actually went to Pike Place. I think it was Sean Lowe's season actually, but
is Greg from Seattle or something? Is this why? Or
no, Katie is.
Oh, okay.
So I guess it kind of makes sense they would do a theme like that, but
okay. So like presumably then, whatever the things that they did are somehow associated with well-known features.
Yeah, like the Pike Place Market
there.
I had heard of before, at least.
Okay, I was unfamiliar. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, they were throwing fake fish. At least I think they were fake.
Yeah, it was. They were fake. There's no way.
Yeah, Greg threw one so high that it knocked down like some light fixtures at one point.
Yeah, shattered some lights on the ground.
And then they moved on to oysters, I think.
Which were real.
Yes. And they couldn't figure out how to open them. So at one point, Katie was like throwing them on the ground to try and crack them open.
It's just a disaster.
And then she tried to eat one, and that didn't go well for her.
I don't understand. So I'm already someone who would not be a fan of just gulping down raw oysters.
Oh no, never.
But also, you then combine that. Okay, gulping down raw oysters, but these are raw oysters that have been like transported from whatever ocean they came to the middle of nowhere in the desert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then presumably sat out on that table
Oh no.
as they were doing stuff after having been transported presumably hundreds of miles from whatever market they were gone from. Just a recipe for disaster. There's not a chance that I would have touched those things had I been in that situation, let alone like try to eat one.
Yeah, no, she had to spit it out, and I don't blame her.
No, that would have been incredibly gross. I don't really understand the connection between the playing football and the brief gum moment, though. I mean, I guess is it just supposed to be like, she loves the Seahawks, or
I guess. I don't know.
We are grasping at straws here, people.
It's
we have no idea.
Hard to figure out sometimes. I don't know what the blowing gum was for either. It's just kind of like a hodgepodge.
Is there some sort of like gum association with Pike Place?
I don't think
area
so.
Or something? Well, let us know in the emails if we are wrong about this and if the chewing gum actually does relate to something, because we have no idea.
Also, everyone on the internet was talking about her attire for this date. She was wearing a green t-shirt and some jeans. I liked it, but a whole bunch of people.
Internet did not.
I mean, some people did.
Thumbs down.
Some people were like, "Oh, it's too casual for the Bachelorette." I mean, based on the activity they were doing for the date, I feel like it makes sense.
I mean, she was pretty casual for most of the episode.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I just never. I never see, because obviously, right, they're trying to make this big production and stuff, and so they'll have these sweeping aerial shots, sort of the exterior, establishing shots before going to other areas, and every time that camera swoops in over the resort, I'm just like, wow, that looks like a prison.
It does. It really does. Like, the building is brown. The like landscape is brown. It all blends into this like desolate looking place in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, I still can't get over how sad Greg looks all the time.
Yeah, even when he's having fun with her, there's like an undercurrent.
He's like, I'm happy, but I'm also profoundly sad.
Yeah, should we move on to the nighttime portion?
We can if you desire.
So I think Katie has picked up on his attitude because she says it looks like he's going to leave.
Yeah, she's kind of been, in my opinion at least, based on what she's said a couple times, she's been a little uncertain about what exactly to do with Greg and whether or not he actually wants to be there at all. Yeah. Because she had a conversation along these lines with him probably 2 or 3 episodes ago now. Which is the same thing of her just being like, man, I see that you don't look like you're having a good time on these group dates.
Yeah, I think like every episode, basically, she has to like reassure him, and it just really seems like she's into him more than he is into her.
No. Don't say that,
It's like she's trying to pull him in, and I don't know. He doesn't seem very enthusiastic.
I think that's just his face.
Yes, but like his whole like attitude and demeanor.
I mean, maybe. So, yeah, I guess he's had a really hard time with letting his guard down and being comfortable with the process, with everybody else. They're dating her at the same time. It's difficult. A lot of emotions running through Greg.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy environment to be in. It's just usually I feel like the people on this show they cast are a little better equipped to handle it than Greg is.
Well, R.I.P. Greg. Yeah, but he still somehow kind of says he's falling in love with her, sort of.
Yes, he's like really excited to show his family the girl he's falling in love with. And Katie loves that.
Well, Christy, I really hate to beat this dead horse, but as we've established, she's here to be sex positive and find a husband.
Well, looks like she's on her way there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's excellent. What do you think about the ending of
Oh yeah, they like
this date?
recreated, that moment in a romantic movie with.
Well, it's because it's still the stupid Seattle theme.
Oh.
And Seattle's very rainy.
Yes, I did not make that connection, but that's true. So like the producers made it rain like on a movie set. Like actually very large amount of rain.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they just set up a bunch of giant sprinklers.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, they ran outside and embraced and made out as they got drenched.
Yes, with the accompanying soaring romantic music behind it.
Just I was swooning. So I was just swooning all over the place. I just couldn't believe it. My little romantic heart.
I think the soaking wet clothes kind of took me out of it just a little bit.
Wow. That's not very nice thing to say to the producers who worked so hard on this.
I know. Have you ever had to walk around in soaking wet pants though?
Yes, of course. I mean, I've gotten caught in a rainstorm before. But they probably didn't have to spend much time. I mean, it was literally right out front. Like, it was right outside the front door of the resort. So, presumably, they did that, and then the producers were like, cut the rain. We've run through our water budget. We got it, folks. Okay, you can go back to your rooms now. The date's over.
Yeah, that's probably how it went.
I mean, potentially. Yeah, I would be curious to find out how exactly that sort of thing gets set up.
Yeah, I want a behind the scenes of that. Because it looked like you couldn't see where the rain was coming from or anything. It looked real, like if you were in a really heavy downpour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who knows? Will we ever find out? Probably not. But we get to see another
You're talking about the group date card?
Well, I was just thinking about our Canadian bro.
Oh.
But we can talk about the date card first.
Well, yeah, it leads into that because they read off the names in the group date, and they read everyone left except for Mike. So,
which means, dun dun dun, that Brendan still has had no one-on-one time.
no, stuck on another
and
group
he
date.
is not happy.
Yeah, he literally says, "Why am I still here?"
Because his time is running out, and he knows it.
Yes, I wonder which producer convinced him to like do what he does next, to go see Katie in her hotel room. Like, does he not know that this is where you get sent home?
I don't know. Maybe he just he had to take his shot.
I guess
He just had to do it.
He walks up to Katie's hotel room and first applies lip balm at the door, as if he's going to be making out with her.
I mean, it was pretty optimistic.
Yes.
Also, though, is that something that people do regularly?
Knocking on the door?
No. Applying lip balm before making out with somebody. Is that like a thing?
Oh, I don't know, but Hunter was also doing that this season. I don't know.
I don't really spend a lot of time making out with people, so I'm not really familiar with the etiquette of like, or maybe more so conventions of making out.
It's also weird that he waited until he got to the door to do that. Like, why not do that before you leave your room?
Because he wanted it to be fresh.
How far is her room?
I don't know. I'm just speculating, okay? I'm just speculating. Yeah, that was way too optimistic.
Katie does not look happy to see him. I noticed.
Yeah. I also feel like I go back and forth on this whole thing. So when he comes into the room and she's sort of standing there awkwardly, he's like, "Hey, can I get a hug?"
Oh, I hated that.
So it's kind of like I feel conflicted because I'm like, well, consent is important. But I'm also like, everyone there is there with the expectation of like hugging each other. So I don't know where the line is there, because it just seems so mega awkward.
Yeah, it's the equivalent
for him
of
to just be like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's the equivalent of the "I'm a hugger" person.
I don't know. It's just strange to me. It's like maybe like read body language and make your decision from that versus I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. It just seems very awkward when that sort of thing happens on The Bachelor.
Yeah, it's like he knew she wasn't like going in that direction, so he's like, well, I'll just force it anyway.
Which that isn't very consensual.
No, that's not sex positive.
No, that's not sex positive, guys.
So they like go to sit down. I feel like he like kind of invited himself over to her couch.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And like he could barely sit down because his jeans were
didn't want him
so
there.
tight.
Hey, he's a Canadian bro, okay? When you're a Canadian bro, you just gotta do Canadian bro things, like wear incredibly tight pants.
Oh, I didn't know that was a characteristic.
Yes, it is.
And then he starts saying things like, when I'm with you, I feel like we could take over the world. Like,
when have you been with her?
I know.
When have you been around her?
Well, then he's like, oh, if we had a whole day together, it would be great. My family would love you. And Katie's like, I'm going to stop you right there.
Well, first, let me not correct, but add to what you were saying. Specifically, he was talking about how if we had a whole day together, my family would love you. And then, which may have been the final nail in his coffin, he said something to the effect of, my dad would love chugging beers with you.
Oh, I missed that.
Which is kind of like, why is this something that you've brought up in your Hail Mary attempt at staying on the show?
Yeah,
So hometowns?
not really a selling point.
Like, I can't speak for any of our listeners here, but I feel like if I was in a situation where I was judging prospective partners and this person told me that their dad would love chugging beers with me, I would kind of be like, well, why should I care? And I think that's precisely how Katie felt. Because then she was like, let me stop you right there. You're going home right now.
Yeah. I don't think we could get there in time is the diplomatic thing she said.
Yeah. It's always, oh, I felt a connection, but, I don't know if we have enough time to get there. Other relationships have progressed further than ours. Which, again, it's all this sort of pretty phony, sort of diplomatic, like, you don't want to look like a jerk on national television,
Yeah.
but you still have to get rid of them. And so you don't want to just be like, well, the way that you talk and behave really irritates me most of the time. You have to kind of pad it out in niceties.
Yeah.
So that you don't lose Insta followers.
Yes, that's the real prize.
Yes.
So then there's like an abrupt cut in the footage, and we cut to him rolling his suitcase down the hall. We didn't even see him leave her room or anything.
Yeah, she was like, get out of here. And it was like, jump forward in time. He's down the hall.
Yeah. And he like goes to Blake's room and is like, oh, I'm being sent home. I don't know why that was funny to me, but...
Which, of course, Blake is standing there shirtless, and he's like, what's going on? He's like, I talked to Katie, and it's over.
Yep, that's the end of Brendan.
R.I.P., but also not really. I did not care.
No, we barely knew him.
Nice to not know you.
On to the group date.
That's a little mean. See, I should probably practice what Katie does and learn to not be quite so mean openly.
I don't know. I like the hot takes.
Well, it is in the title of the show, so for that sake. Yeah. So, are you gonna make me talk about this?
I guess it's my turn, isn't it? So they're like, it's like the group date now, and they're walking up to, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 paintings or drawings.
Yeah, and I guess I will preface this with, so Katie was talking about before this happened that things had been pretty heavy, a lot of heavy things going down, and so she just wanted to kind of basically that there were serious conversations that needed to be had, of course, but those could wait a little bit, and they could just have some fun on the group date.
Yes.
And then the group date. So please continue.
Yeah, and so the guys are like all examining these paintings. They're like flowers, or like a collection of flowers on each one, but they all kind of have the shape of like a certain area on a woman. And so
yeah, I mean it's sort of and it's probably an actual art style.
I think it is, because I've seen this before.
But yeah, it's basically just sort of floral art suggestive of female genitalia.
Yeah. And everyone's like laughing at it, and I think Katie asks, because at this point the artist is there, And then Katie asked Blake like what he thought or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, the colors are aggressive."
Yeah, he was saying all these kind of just I don't know. It almost felt like a sort of stab in the dark on his part, just being like, I don't know how to talk about this.
Yeah.
It's awkward. Yeah. And then of course the lady was like, well, actually, like that's a self-portrait, which is also like pretty awkward of itself.
Yes.
Too. Like
how are they all your self-portraits? They all look different. So
no, I think she was saying specifically the one he was talking about was
okay.
a self. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because he was talking specifically about one. Like Katie was like, "What do you think about this one?" Of course, with the artist standing there.
Yeah, I mean, how else are you gonna talk about a painting like that?
I mean, I feel like there were a lot of other things that you could have said, but because he's Blake, right? We've established this earlier. Like, as a person, instead of seeing this floral arrangement, he sees the genitals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he can.
He can't help it.
No, he can't. And so he kind of ended up talking himself into a corner.
Yes, so the guys now have to draw.
Well, like, create some sort of representation.
Was it supposed to be of Katie? Or I don't remember what.
Yeah, I don't remember what the actual challenge was. It was just sort of like make some sort of artwork to represent, I don't know, like what Katie means to you, or like maybe like your journey with Katie or something. And so they could use any medium. Like there was paint and sculpting stuff and all that.
They actually did this same day during Tayshia's season.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier with
where Blake made his
with the male genitalia.
Yes. And it was quite large.
Oh boy.
All the guys were laughing at him when that happened.
Oh boy. Yeah, so why don't you walk us through some of these artworks here? Well,
Justin is an artist, so theoretically this should be easy for him.
I was disappointed.
I know. He like painted like a flower or a rose or something in the middle, but then the rest of it looked like a kindergartner's painting. Like what was that?
Christy is not lying here. And I guess it was I guess he basically what he was saying was he meant it as this. It's their before and after. So on one side of the rose, they're all like sad and alone and blah, blah, blah. And on the other side of the rose, because the rose is like the Bachelorette, them meeting, their journey together. And then on the other side, they're together and happy and with kids or whatever. And it was literally what Christy described. Like a decent looking, like painted rose, and then left and right, just... Honestly, I could have done that.
It looked,
which is so bad because I am like the worst artist in the history of people.
I feel
pretty
like
much.
I might actually have that title. You've seen my drawings.
Well, we're pretty close there, and we could have done that. Like
I
we
know
could have done the left and the right side.
It was so bad. I don't. Why would you? If you're an actual artist, why not make it look decent?
I don't know. I don't know if maybe they just had like a specific time limit, and so he felt like he had to just get it done,
maybe.
And so he just went with it, or what? But it was pretty atrocious.
Yes. So we have Michael created a sculpture of Katie's butt.
Yeah.
Which for some reason ABC felt the need to put a black box over it. Like,
because it's a butt, Christy.
It's not a real one, though.
We can't have butts on television.
It's not real.
Think of the children.
They shouldn't be watching this in the first place.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Andrew drew something to do with sushi. I did not catch what the meaning of that one
Yeah,
was.
it didn't look like sushi, but it was sort of like this food object and then like this giant mouth, which was Andrew. And so it was sort of, from what I gathered, it was sort of like this representation of how they bonded together, like over food and like their respective loves of food.
I guess that makes sense, sort of.
I mean, it was a terrible painting.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It was terrifying. Like, it was nightmare-inducing.
And then we get to Blake, who, honestly, I can't even describe to you what he drew because ABC censored the entire thing.
Yes. However, and just based on what we keep saying about Blake, this shouldn't come as a surprise. It was some sort of representation of some bizarre sexual act.
We can only imagine.
And I have specifically not imagined.
I wonder if one day he'll, like, post it or something.
I don't know. I don't want to see that, Christy.
Hey, it's Blake. I'm sure he would love to.
No, but I'm saying I don't want to see his nightmare painting. But yeah, they had it. He held it up, and so it was a canvas on a slight frame, and they just put a black blob over the entire thing.
Yeah, like at first I thought, wait, did he even draw anything? Is he just holding up a black sheet of paper? But then I was like, oh wait, no, that's censored.
That's what I thought initially while he was drawing it, because it was like that when he drew it as well.
Okay.
And so I was like, is he just like drawing a black background that he's going to add stuff to or something? But then when he actually stood up and was showing it, then you could actually tell because it was kind of moving a little bit because they had to like keyframe it in during post.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic Blake. I just love the guy so much. Well, what about the nighttime portion? Gotta keep moving here, Christy.
Yeah, Katie talks with Blake. Says it's the easiest with him. I took note of that. That might be important later.
Miss, I know what's happening in the future.
No, not in terms of that. Just that comment in particular. Like,
that it's easiest with him?
Yeah, like you don't want some of these people, it seems like she has to work for it to work.
Wow. I mean, you are right.
Like Mike later on.
No, don't say that. Yeah.
Although he does say he's not in love right now, but it's inevitable. Which is such a bold thing to say.
Yeah, like I only kind of like you right now, but I'll definitely be in love with you later for sure.
And for some reason she thinks she trusts him, so we'll see.
I mean, well, she wants to trust him at least. Yeah, they did actually do additional. I don't remember if all of them did this. I'm pretty sure all of them like brought an additional painting for her. I don't know if they showed all of them, but I'm pretty sure I saw online that they all did a second one after the fact.
Okay.
That were like way better than the ones earlier.
Yeah, because Justin brought her a really nice painting of butterflies, so he made up for his disaster from earlier.
And again, it may have just been a time thing, and so I wonder if they did that afternoon portion or the daytime portion of the group date and then sort of whisked her away to do, ITMs and promos or whatever for several hours and, like, told them, okay, now you guys spend the rest of the afternoon doing a second art piece that you'll present to her during the evening portion. I don't know if that's true or not, but I suspect it could be true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I did find it interesting in Michael's time with her, just talking about his son. I was a little surprised. Do you believe her?
I mean, weirdly, yes. I don't know if that's naive of me or whatever, but she really seems like she's giving him a real chance, and like she'd be open to moving there. I think it's Ohio where he is.
Yeah, because essentially, of course, as we've talked about, he has the son with his now deceased wife, and keeps showing her pictures and stuff. And what she said was to the effect of, whenever I've given you a rose, I've been giving a rose to, I don't even remember his kid's name, but insert kid's name
James,
here.
maybe?
I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if she's telling the truth, but she seems to be sincere about it, which is interesting.
I really like Michael. He's such a likable person.
Yeah, again, I was forced to change my mind here.
Yeah, he's coming off really well.
I don't know. Do you think he could be a bachelor in the future?
I don't know what they're thinking. We have had a single dad bachelor before. That was actually the first season I started watching, which is Jason Mesnick. So it's been a while.
But he probably didn't care as much about his kid.
I'm sure he did. He was actually the first one to do the switcheroo, where he chose one, dumped her, and went back to the second. They're still married now, though.
Wow, who knew? Yeah, the her time with Andrew was kind of interesting as well. I don't know what you made of that.
Yeah, it seems like Andrew's trying to figure out whether to be done playing football or not. So he's kind of like trying to hedge his bets, like, oh, how do you really feel about me? And she basically told him, well, you keep playing, and if need be, I'll move to Austria, I think is where he plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does play in Austria. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a little interesting because he was saying how he would give it up for her. Then, of course, a little one-on-one part 2 or one-on-one remix, maybe.
Yes. When I saw the previews for this last week at the end of the episode, I was like, are they really giving him another one-on-one date with the same activity? But thankfully, it was just this little one thing where she has to open up one envelope like they did on the earlier date.
Mm-hmm. Which says that he's falling in love with her. Oh.
Yes. Isn't it just so romantic that everybody says that around this time of the season?
Oh, it's so romantic and so unique, and I'm so glad all of their relationships have progressed this far.
Yes, all in tandem.
Oh, yeah. So I'm tempted to just be like, let's just skip Mike's one-on-one.
Oh, wait. Also, Michael got the group date rose.
Oh, yes.
But no,
which, not a surprise.
No. But no, we can't.
Andrew not happy about it.
No, Andrew was bummed.
Andrew was convinced that he would get it. But he did not get it.
No.
Okay, well.
We can't skip Mike's date, though.
But I want to.
Oh, what a gem this was.
So, I guess. So basically, he starts out really complimentary, talking about how this is Katie that I'm speaking of here, talking about how, being as sex positive as she is, she never thought that she would date a virgin, but really, like, getting to know Mike has really changed her mind, that people can be virgins and still be sex positive,
This is where I don't think she's being sincere.
Ouch. Ouch. So then, I don't know who came up with this.
This is a date we've seen many times. So
is it though?
Yes. Remember, like the tantric yoga date.
No, but that's. I feel like this is in a different category than that.
I mean, technically yes, but it's the same sort of like uncomfortable. Let's hold this pose.
Trying to develop intimacy. So, where better to develop intimacy than to walk into the woods and meet this late middle-aged woman known by some as Cuddle Queen Jean.
I couldn't handle that.
who is there to take them on a cuddling journey.
This sounds like satire.
No, this is literally what happened.
I know, we're not making this up.
I'm not making this up. So of course they have to go change into more comfortable clothes and then come back. And again, I don't understand. It's like their platform thing that they made. It was and I'm using very heavy air quotes here, but a couch. But it really was just like this platform on the ground in the woods that had like a blanket and some pillows on it. It did not look like it would be comfortable whatsoever.
It was quite a janky setup. It was.
Yeah. And so the two of them are on this, again, air quote, couch next to each other, and Cuddle Queen Jean is there on the couch as well to instruct them to build intimacy by trying different kinds of hugs.
Yes. The first one is the oxytocin hug.
Yes, the oxytocin hug, which is just, it's a wonderful hug. If I remember correctly, they just sort of sat kind of next to each other but facing in opposite directions, and then they like turned their torsos towards each other and hugged. But as you might imagine, Mike is not particularly comfortable with physical intimacy, and Katie was incredibly awkward as well, and so they were both just like tittering like little schoolgirls because of how uncomfortable and like not relaxed they were.
Yeah, they could not stop laughing. It
they
so
could
funny.
not. I mean, it was so embarrassing.
Even the lady was like, yeah, this.
Yeah, she was not amused. Okay, Cuddle Queen Jean takes her job very seriously.
Yes.
And when her clients do not take their job seriously, she gets very upset. Because she was just like, because she got an ITM there. She was like, yeah, like, really? Typically, when we see people laughing like that, it means that they're not relaxed and into the process or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so that position didn't work. So next they tried the lap of luxury.
Which, as I just want to point out for our listeners, Christy does not believe Cuddle Queen Jean here. Christy does not believe or recognize the lap of luxury as a legitimate hug.
No, I did not think so. Because, like, he has to lay his head on her lap, and then they're like sort of like wrapped around each other, but it was not.
Yeah, it was basically he was like lying between her legs, like with his head on her leg or whatever in her lap.
Yeah.
And so they were kind of like touching each other, but they weren't really hugging.
Yeah, more of a cuddle than a hug.
But well, it is supposed to be a cuddle, I guess. Is maybe the where we got confused. Because she was getting into the hug territory, but we can't forget that she is the cuddle queen.
Yes.
So I guess technically it would be a cuddle, but also kind of not really. Anyways, at this point is when I started screaming.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't stop screaming for a very long time because as he's lying there with his head in her lap and they're talking and they're starting to sort of reach some sort of equilibrium where they look maybe like they're a little bit more relaxed and comfortable with each other.
Yes, there is no laughing at this point.
It starts intercutting footage of an ITM with Mike, and oh my goodness, guys, I can't, even talking about it now makes me so uncomfortable. He was talking about how Katie, and specifically, not just Katie, but when he and Katie touch, it reminds him of his mother. And I don't have much relationship experience in my life. I don't know many things. But the one thing that I do know is that you should probably not be thinking of a romantic partner's like physical touch and intimacy and equating that to intimacy with your mother.
No, he literally said Katie has that motherly touch.
Yes. Yes. I just and I was hoping so hard that the disaster would be contained to the ITM because they kept intercutting more footage and he was just going on and on and on, and he would get physical touch from his mom, when his dad was at work, and it was really great, and Katie's a better cuddler than her, and like all this different, and it's just like, oh my goodness, please, just lie there with your head in her lap. Do not say anything. Do not be an idiot. And then of course, it goes back, and he's lying there, and he's like, "You remind me of my mom." And that was the final straw.
Yeah, he even said, "Well, Katie, you're a better cuddler than my mom." Like, it was so awkward.
Guys, don't say that. That is not.
There was even a line in here. I don't know what he was going on about. He talks about getting physical touch from his mom while his dad is at work.
Yeah.
What was that?
That was like in the ITM. Very uncomfortable.
I mean, I kind of liked Mike before this, but man, he really like tanked. What was this?
I don't know. It's very, very uncomfortable. And again, just not stuff. And even if you, and I really hope most people don't feel this way, but like even if you did like feel that way, like keep that to yourself. Like you don't want to have that be the comparison, right? Like, okay, so like they end up married and like they're living as a couple, doing couple things, and it's just like, yeah, you remind me of my mom. Like,
I mean, props to that producer for pulling that out of him on his ITMs, because this was gold.
Well, I would assume that they probably don't you think they just had him do that after he got dumped by her, or no? Do you think it was before?
That would have been after, but before Katie came back, like walked back to him, probably in between there.
Okay, so because I was trying to figure out like if like he said this stuff to her before he said the stuff in the ITM.
Yes, I would think so.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess then probably what happened was they were like watching this go down and then brought him out for his ITM and were like, "Hey, so like expound on like what you meant by like she's a better cuddler than your mom." You know, or that you like she reminds you of your mom.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So,
oh my goodness.
So funny.
Which of course then they cut in footage as well from the house because they're all talking about how like they don't really necessarily think that he's gonna make it that much longer. Blake especially.
Yes.
Blake's like, yeah, he's not very sex positive. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's not wrong about Mike. This was never going to work.
no, I'm just surprised he lasted this long.
Yeah.
Which then like the whole thing with Andrew, that was also supremely uncomfortable. Because Blake was saying like, "Oh yeah, look, like he wouldn't have been comfortable on this group date that we did, you know, where we saw these paintings that were like representations of female genitalia." And then Andrew's like, "Well, like I've talked to the guy, and like, you know, yeah, he just wants to like save that for his wife, but like he's done other things or like done other stuff." It's just like,
why is he sharing that? Like,
I don't know.
So weird.
Yeah. Well, would you like to share with us the aftermath? The conclusion of
well,
this?
at this point, they are still out in the daytime, still dressed,
still wearing their
white clothes. Mike's
their white cuddle suits.
Yes, Mike's like cuddling allowed us to bond in our own natural way, and I'm thinking, oh man, you are
like I
so
bonded
far
with my
behind.
mother.
So Mike is looking forward to dinner, but Katie is not. She comes up to him, hugs him, and starts crying, and you can see it on his face. He knows it's time to go. She gives the standard, I have stronger relationships with other people. But Mike was gracious after this. He's like, no matter what the result, my respect for you isn't going to change. I'll still be rooting for you.
And I didn't expect that to happen. It's just kind of funny, the whole line she fed, when I just feel like the reality of the situation was she just didn't want to have to sit with him during dinner after like hearing all this stuff about his mom.
Yeah. Best to end it early.
Yeah, she's like, best to not stumble into any more comparisons to his mother.
No.
So goodbye.
He goes home.
He lasted longer than I ever thought he would. Well, please enlighten us about the rose ceremony.
Yeah, this is pretty short because at this point, so few people left. Basically, Andrew does not get a rose.
No.
And honestly, at this point, I was kind of surprised. I thought Andrew would have stayed longer than Justin. It just seems like we've seen more of Andrew and her together.
Yeah, I guess I don't totally understand Katie's thought process.
Yeah, this whole next part was very puzzling.
Well, also just like before, like getting rid of Connor, for example, like why would you get rid of Connor before like Brendan?
Yeah, exactly.
Or even Justin. Like like she gave him that standard BS line like about relationships and stuff. It's like, you really want us, you really think that we're going to believe that your relationship with Brendan, like almost caricature of a person, Brendan, like that your relationship with him has progressed further than the guy that you like made out with wildly the first night, that you like saw a ton of, like went on these dates with. Like, you're really telling me that just because like that was not as real of a thing than what you had with Brendan.
Yeah, it's
you
a
know,
little
just
out of
because
order.
like the kiss was weird. Like, you know, and now same with Andrew as well, which she was so broken up about that. She like, he drove away and she fell to the ground. Was like, no.
Yeah, she was very clearly conflicted. Even talking to your producer, they showed afterwards, like, this is the first elimination where I wasn't sure. Still have doubts, which is foreshadowing for what happened the next morning. Because we still had like a whole segment left in the show, and the rose ceremony was over. So I'm like, well, what's about to happen?
Oh, if only you knew.
So we see a knock on Katie's door, and Andrew is back.
Next morning, what are you doing here, Andrew?
Basically, he just didn't want to leave on such a sad note. Just wanted a better goodbye, I guess. She tells him she didn't feel confident in the decision, which I bet is a great thing to hear after you've already been eliminated.
Yeah.
So they talk a bit more, and then he leaves.
Well, yeah, he's like, okay, like, I was really glad to meet you, like, hugs her, and then it's like, you can read this after I'm gone. Hands her a note or a card.
Yes, and it says, if you change your mind, I'll be waiting.
And then, like, heart Andrew or something
Yeah.
like that, right? And she's like, oh my goodness, I've made a terrible mistake. Ah!
Yeah, then we have this, like, romantic comedy, like, running
But
down the
also
stairs.
so stupid, though, too. Because it's like, she, like, goes out, she's like, oh my god, where's Andrew? Where's Andrew? It's like, he went down the stairs to leave the hotel, you idiot. Like,
I know. All you have to do is follow the cameras. Like,
I'm sure that, like, the producers told her to do that, but it's like, walk out of your room, get it, like, turn to the side, get into the elevator, and go down to the lobby. How hard is that?
Well, we had to do the whole, like, dramatic. She's running
the romantic
after him.
chase thing. And then, like, didn't she, like, jump into his arms?
Yes. It was all very, like, over the top and dramatic. And then we have this weird thing where she's like, if there was a way to stay a little longer, would you want to? Like, what was this? She has already eliminated him.
But she's gonna uneliminate him, Christy.
But thankfully, Andrew came to his senses and is like, I feel a lot of hurt in this place, and I need to say no because I want my future wife to choose me. Rather than being like, well, maybe you can stick around and maybe I'll pick you again.
Can you imagine, though, after all of that, to, like, he, like, takes her to, like, fantasy suites, and after she, like, I'm gonna have to eliminate you again.
I know that would not have worked.
Yeah, because I did see some people kind of dragging him online a bit because of the note that he left her, and then what he then said later. But I kind of feel like he meant that as like a, if you change your mind in the future,
Yeah, after the show.
I'll be waiting. Right? Because I personally, and maybe I'm just a naive fool this time, Christy, but I don't really think that he anticipated her to run after him.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because I don't think that you just like leave a note like that and assume that, but also I don't think that you go through The Bachelor, most people at least, most normal people, and be like, you know what would be great? To do that exact thing again. for more weeks.
Yeah.
And just get my heart stabbed again. So some people were kind of dragging him for that, but I feel like it was probably intended by him as more of a like, you finish The Bachelorette and like, you find that you're unhappy with Blake because he's an immature toddler who only knows how to like make sexual jokes. Then like, come find me.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting the immediate, oh, would you like to stay a little longer?
What kind of terrible like deal offer is that too? Like, would you want to stay a little longer? Like, no, I don't want to stay a little longer. I either want to like get engaged to you or I don't. Or like I want to leave.
Yeah, very glad he said no.
Yeah. Though I feel like some people would have taken that offer.
Perhaps.
But I feel like probably the people who maybe should have taken that offer would be the people who would not take that offer. If that makes sense. Because like somebody like a Thomas or like a Carl or a Hunter, like I feel like they would take that up in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got to get more screen time.
But I feel like men of a bit more character, which it does seem like Andrew is a decent guy, at least from what I've seen. I mean, he could be terrible, horrible human. So don't cancel me, guys, if it comes out later. Well, actually, I guess we already know he is terrible. I forgot about that.
Well,
I'll apologize. Or he used to be terrible.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but still, yeah.
I forgot. I totally forgot that he was problematic. Oh boy. Good thing I remembered that. I take that back. He's a terrible human being, and I'm so glad that he got eliminated. No, I mean I don't know what he's really like now, but
I'm sure he's fine now.
Whew, that was a close one. Man, I feel like I almost pulled a Chris Harrison there.
Yeah, he saved it.
Whew. Yes, I do not endorse Andrew or any of his views.
You covered the bases.
There we go. Yes. Thank goodness. Yeah, so that pretty much just ends the episode right there. His
That's it.
Then rejection of Katie. And now she has to just face the cold hard fact that maybe she made a terrible decision.
Maybe.
A horrible choice. A terrible mistake. Who knows? I guess we'll find out in a few more months when she and Blake break up. And she's thrown back into the ecosystem. That is terrible. No, I mean, she seems pretty determined to find her husband here.
I mean, at this point, it's really just a race between Greg and Blake, I think.
Yeah, that's probably true. Justin...
No chance.
No. Justin's going home next week. Or, I mean, I guess I always get confused about the order of when all of these things happen. Of the just, okay, well, when does the hometowns happen? When does the the men tell all? When does the blah blah blah, all that stuff?
Yeah, men tell all. It seems like we might be getting Hometowns Plus, maybe men tell all next week.
Mm-hmm. So it might only be 11 episode season.
Well, it's over on the 9th.
10?
Yeah, it's over on August 9th because Bachelor in Paradise starts on the 16th of August. So
Oh goodness, we have to podcast about that too. Oh boy. So that's only 2 weeks?
yeah, so the 19th, 26th. So there's 3 more episodes. So yeah, only 10 it looks like.
Okay. Well, whenever it ends up being, I don't think he's going to survive the next rose ceremony.
No, I don't think so.
Then it will be down to who? Greg, Michael A, and Blake, right?
Yeah.
Man, I was going to ask you to speculate, but you already know. I was just thinking about who I think the final 2 are. I'm probably wrong here, but I'm going to say Blake and Michael A.
Okay.
It's kind of a toss-up for me because I feel like both Michael A. and Greg kind of have things working against them. Because Greg has the whole, like, sad puppy dog, like, does he actually want to be here vibe, and, like, Greg has the kid.
Michael has the kid.
Yeah, Michael has the kid. I'm sorry. Michael A. has the kid, and, like, the depressing backstory of his wife dying and stuff. So, I don't even remember what I just said as to what I think. But whatever I said, that's what I believe in my heart.
We'll see.
I'm sure whatever prediction I made will come true.
That would be an interesting final 2.
I mean, you know what it is, but
I mean, there really aren't a lot of details about how things go from here. There's been like a winner spoiled, but the details of how we get there are not revealed. So
I see.
I don't technically know who final 2 is, for example.
Well, you know half of it.
In theory, yes, assuming it's correct. There's always the chance it's wrong.
Well, did you want to talk about the tag, or should we just leave that in obscurity?
There's no way I can recreate the joke, so no, we'll skip it. Greg told an Olive joke.
A very, very, very long Olive pun / Olive dad joke.
Yes,
that's the tag.
It had, I guess, a good payoff, but the lead up was too long.
Yeah. So I will tell the total of kisses while you remember what our email address and Instagram are, so that we do not mess it up and tell people the wrong thing. So this episode, we had a total of 18 kisses.
Oh, wow.
So Katie has been very busy these past 3 episodes. We have basically 50 kisses over the last 3 episodes. Actually, I think it's 55 over the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, I think this season started slow, but
yes, it did start
slow.
slow.
It has picked up.
Yeah. I never thought that she was going to make it up to previous season numbers, but at this rate, she may just eke out a tie.
Wow.
Actually, I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think she's going to be able to do that. Because I think our total last year was like last season was 133.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think she's actually going to make it. She would have to kiss at a ferocious rate.
You know, it's weird because, like, it seems like she kisses everyone. So how is she behind Matt at this point?
Well, because he is sort of the tortoise in the hare type situation. He just kissed decent amounts just all the time. Yep. So, yeah, I don't think she has it in her, to be honest with you.
I guess we'll see.
Yes. Well, do you have our Insta handle and our email address?
Yes, our Instagram is groupdatespodcast, and our email is groupdatespod@gmail.com.
And again, we are available for whatever you need. I say that, but that's not really true. But if you're a real person and you message us or email us, one of us will actually get back to you.
That is true.
We might be mean. We might be supportive. Who knows? Hopefully, Christy's the one that sees the email and not me.
Yeah, I'll probably see it first.
But we will get back to you, and we do love our loyal listeners, the 2 or 3 of you that are out there. We appreciate it. You give us the strength necessary to continue with this podcast. So thank you.
Yes, we appreciate you.
This has been Group Dates and Hot Takes, a Bachelor Nation podcast. I'm Sampy.
And I'm Christy, and we'll talk to you next week.